Hello viewers, today for repair we have a Comfort Air 10-inch tower fan, 3 speeds. This is model TH-10D. My grandmother got this for me years ago because she used to have a tower fan in the kitchen and I always thought it was kind of dumb, and so somewhat of a joke, she bought me this because she thought I should have a tower fan in my collection. And I did use this for a brief period of time. It, surprisingly enough, wasn't that terrible. It moved kind of a decent amount of air, but then after not too long the bearings got kind of stiff and it stopped working correctly, and I tried to repair it, but I didn't really know what I was doing at the time, and so I think I made it worse than it was. And if I recall correctly, there's a problem because the shaft is all scratched up and the bearing won't come off because of that. So we're going to try to repair that today. I think this has a fantastic instruction manual with it. There's inconsistencies on the box. It says 10 inches there, and then on the bottom it says 11 inches. So, of course, this is a wonderful work of the China. So, let's take a look inside here and see what we have, and see if we can get this going again. So here's the instruction manual. It's just one piece of paper. And, oh yeah, this is good. Fan on, set the level dry surface. Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, we're gonna have to do a video on this instruction manual. Alright, here's the fan itself. And let's see what we have here. Ching Hai, model TH-10D. And this was made in the 2008. Wow, that's a little bit older than I thought it was. Huh, anyways, okay. So let's get this plugged in here and see if it runs at all. I can feel the motor vibrating, but it's locked. It's not gonna spin at all. Okay, so we're gonna have to do some major servicing on this. So we'll start by getting these screws open on the back. Looks like there's 4 of them. And we're gonna need one of these longer bits to get down in there and get those screws off of there. I did something the other day that just makes life so much easier when working on stuff. I used to have the bits in here, and I had the wire nuts in there, and it didn't really make any sense because I access the bits all the time, and very seldom do I access the wire nuts. And of course this takes a fair bit more time to get into than that does, so I switched the two, and oh, this is so much easier now. Okay, let's get these screws out of here. Oh jeez, that is really stiff. I don't recall it being that bad. That's awful. I guess those screws can just stay in there because we're not going to be cleaning that at all, so there's no reason those should come out of there. Okay, so here we have the inside of the fan, and you can see it's got some hours on it, but this is ridiculous. It doesn't coast at all. Alright, and this was the damage I was talking about to the shaft. So I think for whatever reason I was trying to hold on to that with a plier or something and get the bolt off the top, but then I don't know what happened after that. Anyways, so I think the front comes off too. Okay. I've noticed here that the motor appears to be the same one that's in the Leisure Waves VN, which also has a wonderful instruction manual to it, and it also appears to be the same motor that's in this VN, and this VN is made by Ching Electric, made in China. Made in China. Oh, no wonder it doesn't work. I can't make things in America anymore. Okay, so the first thing we have to do is get this bolt off the top, and there's no reason to hold the shaft because the blade is slotted. So if you hold the blade, the shaft is not going to turn. And I think at the time I didn't know that. So, oh well, living room. So I'll hold this here like that, and this is actually reverse threaded, so that may have caused some confusion as well. Look how easily that came off. Wonders of knowledge. Okay, so let's see if this will come off now. Okay, so now we have another problem. This isn't coming off, and that could be because I jammed it on there too hard at some point. That's busted out, so we'll have to glue that back on. Oh geez, this is really under good. And I'm not sure I can even use the pullers on this because I don't know how I would get it down onto there. I'm gonna have to try. Okay, here's the pullers. I'm not sure what's going to transpire here. I think our best bet is going to be to go with the biggest one. Maybe we get away with the mid-size one. If I can put this down. We're going to need the big one. So I think what I'll be able to do is put this down around all three of these. I'm going to switch this to the higher holes. I think I've mentioned this before, but this is one of my favorite tools. It's just so useful, and there's very few other tools that can do the job of this. And it almost always works flawlessly every time I use it. Alright, so now we're going to be able to grab the bottom of the thing equally and slowly pull it off, hopefully. And with this, one of the things I like about it is you have a lot of control. So you can kind of tell if you're going to, get to the point where something's going to break, and you can stop and prevent that from happening. Whereas if you're just prying something off, who knows what's going to happen. Okay, this is slipping off the shaft. Okay, so it's not really moving at all. It sounds just kind of like it's creaking. I may have to put something on top of the shaft here in order to make it a little bit wider. There it goes, it's coming off now. There we go. Okay, another success for the bearing pullers. Really like this tool. Alright, so I'll put these away until next time. And now we can proceed on. And notice how nothing got broken or damaged. It's really a phenomenal tool to have. If you ever work on anything with bearings, or parts like this that have to get pulled off, this is an indispensable tool to have. Okay, I'll put that away later off video. Alright, so now we're into the motor, and this is just totally locked up. This is one of the worst, most locked motors I've seen in a long time. That's crazy. And the problem is, in order to file this down, I gotta get it running. So, I'm not sure if it's the top bearing or the rear bearing that's having the problem. Now, at the time, when I tried to oil this, I probably put this in there because I didn't know any better. And what's happened is what happens. It gums up and it turns into like a sticky, almost a tar-like substance. And then the bearings will lock. Now, the only way to undo that is with a detergent oil. So ironically enough, we're also going to fix the problem with this oil, even though this is probably one of the reasons why it got messed up. Oh man, that's not even starting to free up. Alright, let's see here. Let's see if I can get the motor off of here and then try to turn it on. Looks like it's starting to free up now. Maybe it'll free up enough that I can turn it on. I don't think it's an alignment issue. No, it's not. It's too stiff still. I gotta get a fan to put on here so it doesn't overheat. Still awfully stiff. I don't think it'll work. It's trying. Just so we can get a better idea of the airflow. Not the airflow, the rotation speed. I'll throw that on there. Actually, that will give a little bit of cooling, I think. It's starting to go now. The blade appears to be inching its way down the shaft, more like millimetering its way down the shaft. I don't want it to get stuck on there, so we're going to put a stop to that. Alright, now I think it'll run enough that we can do our repair here. So what we're going to do is we're going to sand down the surface of the shaft significantly, because I want to make the blade easy to come on and off, and of course we've got to fix that up there so that the bearings can be removed for cleaning and servicing. Okay, so now this is where we're going to need this fan going. The motor's already getting pretty hot. And let's see here, let's just put it down like that. And I'll put this down here. And this is going to take some time. So I'll show like just a couple of seconds of what we're going to do. And then I'm going to do this off the camera because this could take 5 or 10 minutes to sand this down. Because it's got to get sanded down so much. So turn this on. I'm going to start with a coarse sandpaper. And we're just going to kind of go like this. And there's some really deep grooves in there, so I'm going to have to take it down a lot in order to be able to get the bearing off. So that's what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and do that off video, and then I'll get some more video once the shaft has been repaired. We'll get a before and after picture here. There's still some pretty deep scratches in there, but I think the surface has been smoothed down enough that we may be able to get the bearing off without any further problems. The motor is pretty hot. I think it's done about as much as it feels like doing today. I have this fan going on it, but it doesn't seem to be making a big difference. Okay, so now let's see if the bearing will come off. It won't even budge. So we're going to have to file some more right at the beginning there. But I'm going to let the motor cool off because it's getting really hot. Jeez, this is going to be harder than I thought. Okay, I think we'll get it this time. There it goes. Seriously, it's going to get stuck right at the end. Okay, we'll have to do a little bit more filing then. You never just force it off because that'll ruin the bearing surface. And that there is no recovering from. Alright, take 3. Finally. Okay, so now we can clean the shaft and we can clean the bearings. Okay, so now we're going to clean everything off. Here you can see the wear on the shaft where it was locked. That seemed to clean right off pretty easily. We've got a couple of, is that 2 washers or 1? Looks like 1 thrust washer. Now these are actually kind of a papery material. I wonder if these were intended to hold lubrication. Oh, there's actually two of these washers. There's a total of 3 thrust washers on each side of the shaft. Okay, so that's all cleaned up. Now we'll clean the bearings themselves. So that's all the gummed up lubricant that was in there. Okay, that's about as thoroughly cleaned as it's going to get. So now we need to re-lubricate and reassemble. So I'll clean the dust off of these while we're at it. That's not really relevant. And this is kind of bent. So let's fix that as well. Okay, or we'll lose it. Preferably we can fix it. This is quite bent. No, that's better. Okay, so for lubricating it, we're going to use the correct oil this time. We're going to use the Blue Lake Products Zoom Spout, which is specifically for electric motors. You can also use the blue can of the 3-in-1, which right there specifically says it's for fiends. Fiends, if you look on the other container, there's no fiend on there. It's not for fiends. This is for fiends. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to fill the oil wells with the oil, maybe 3 or 4 drops. And let that soak in there. Okay, that's all soaked in. I just wipe out the excess. There won't be much excess, just a little bit around the edges sometimes. Otherwise you can have a leaking issue, and nobody wants oil leaking out of a fan. Okay, that's completed. Now we're going to begin to reassemble the motor. And we're going to put some more oil in here. It's not cooperating very well. Okay. We'll put some oil on the... Actually, we got to put all these washers back on here first. I'm going to put some oil on the shaft first, because we want there to be lubrication everywhere. Okay, now I'll put a drop in between all these. Okay, and then 1 drop onto the shaft itself. And that is what will slide into the bearing. Spinning very freely now. Okay, so on the front shaft we'll do the same thing. A little bit of oil on there first. And we'll put this on. Put this on. And we'll put this on. Okay, and then we're going to put some oil all along here, not much, just a small amount, and then I'll slide this on. That was a bit too much oil. There's some excess leaking here. Well, maybe this is on upside down, it's not going in. Okay, that's all good. It's pretty tight, so let's get it into alignment. Look at that, it's spinning beautifully now. And plug it in and give it a quick test. Perfect. Okay. Very good. Now we can reassemble. Put this oil away before it spills, because that's something that would happen around here. Now, one of the things I'm not liking here is that all these wires are kind of exposed to where the oscillation arm is moving, and that just seems like a recipe for disaster. Oh, I see how it's supposed to go. I was putting it on wrong. It's supposed to go like that. Okay, never mind. It's fine. The wires are not really exposed to the oscillation mechanism. Well, actually, I guess they kind of are. Oh well, I probably would never use the oscillation on this anyways. Alright, let's screw this down. That's nice. That screw is stripped. Okay, anyways. Alright, so that's still spinning very nicely. Let's put this on. And actually, I was wrong. It's not slotted. So, okay. Put that back on there. Still fitting very tight, which I guess is just whatever. Well, it's on there. It's not coming off again without the tool. Oh. Now the bolt is not turning because the blade is not holding it in place. I see what the original dilemma was now. Well, quite frankly, I think it's under tight enough. I don't think it's slipping at all. It actually puts out a surprising amount of air. Alright, let's go with that. This is going to be a thriller to get back on. All these wires are just kind of floating around in there and getting in the way of everything. lights on. Make sure it's not hitting anything. Nope, doesn't seem to be. Okay, there we go. It is running once again. And it does move a decent amount of air. It's kind of impressive, really. It can be felt from really far away. Try the osculations. Those appear to be working. The medium, the low, and of course the off. Why bother? Well, that brings back some good memories from the summer of 2009.